Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to marketing. I'm Professor Martin, and I'm the type of guy who loves a good acronym. And boy, do I have one for you today. One of the things you learn in B school that for whatever reason, it seems to stick around even long after you've graduated and taken all the classes. And that's a good thing too, because what we're talking about today is something that you'll probably end up doing at some point. If you go into business, if you work for a governmental organization, at some point you will probably be taking part in a SWOT analysis. So our goal in the video today is to kind of talk about what a SWOT is and talk about what the letters stand for and maybe give you an example. And so that way you'll be familiar with it, because you're going to have to make one for me when we're all done here. All right, well, we have a homework assignment where you make a SWOT analysis. Taking one step backwards, we just had a video where we talked about the marketing plan, and that was a written plan that outlines all our strategic marketing goals for the entire organization. We talked about how the purpose of that plan was to help take our marketing from point A to point B and provide a roadmap so we knew where we were going and we could make our goals and we could get to where we wanted to be. And that just flowed along aimlessly. We broke down the different parts of the marketing plan. We said at the very beginning, the first things you have to do before you even talk about your marketing objectives, before you even talk about the 4 Ps and what you're trying to accomplish, you have to figure out where you are as an organization. It does no good to plan on where you want to be if you don't know where you're at right now. And a big part of that planning process and understanding where you're at right now is our SWOT analysis. We look inside our organization, we try to figure out where we stand. What are we good at? What are we not good at? What opportunities are out there? And what could go wrong? So that's really what our SWOT analysis is all about. It's just a planning tool that helps us look internally inside the business and also externally and see what's going on. And we assess our SWOTs. We have a certain strength, we have weaknesses, and then we have opportunities and threats. So if you think of a strength, what are we doing better than other organizations? Those things are going to be internal to the organization. They're happening inside the business, right? What are we good at? A fancy B school lingo for that are core competencies. What are our core competencies? What are we good at? What do we do better than other organizations? All right, we need to know that because we want to leverage what we're good at, all right, and take advantage of it. We also, of course, have weaknesses. Weaknesses are internal to the organization. What are our limitations? What are some things we're not really that good at? What are some things we could improve upon? Both of those are going to be internal to the organization. We have to look inside and kind of have some reflection here. Opportunities and threats are going to be external to the organization. Opportunities. What can we go after? What are some opportunities in the marketplace that we can chase? New customers, new markets, efficiencies, whatever the case might be. And then finally, threats. What could go wrong? What is out there in the external environment that could hurt us? All right, SWOT. Very important to understand the SW part, internal to the organization. Stuff that's happening inside the company. The O and the T, external. Happening outside the company, but still could potentially have an impact on the business. So, our SWOT analysis is really the first step in our strategic planning process. As I mentioned, we have to know where we are before we start talking about where we want to go. And by knowing that, it's going to help us formulate strategies that take advantage of what we're good at. We're going to leverage our capabilities and make sure that we're focusing on strategies that kind of go along with what we're good at. We're not going to pursue a bunch of strategies in areas that we're terrible at. It would not make any sense. So, I promised you an example. Let's talk about Patagonia. Now, you may remember from a few videos back, we talked about Yeti. And at the time, I had you kind of do a little mental exercise. I told you to close your eyes and picture the kind of person that Yeti would maybe be targeting. What's Yeti's target market? What kind of person buys Yeti products? And we can kind of do the exact same thing right now. Maybe you're familiar with Patagonia, to another outdoor lifestyle brand. Maybe you've seen the logo out there. Maybe you've even bought a product or two yourself. I want you to kind of take a moment and picture what you think a Patagonia customer might look like. So hopefully you had a chance to close your eyes and think about that. Maybe you were picturing, a group of people, younger, millennial, hip type people. The guys have beards. Maybe they're wearing sandals. Maybe they're standing in some remote location in the mountains playing some kind of game or doing some kind of activity that nobody really does anymore except for hipster people. Maybe they're playing hacky sack and their dog's kind of there checking it out. Maybe that's what you picture when you think of Patagonia. And you wouldn't really be too far off if you look at the stuff on the website. Really, the only thing missing here is the dog. We got the millennials, they're rocking the beards, they got the sandals, they're playing hacky sack out here in the middle of nowhere on the side of a mountain. All right, so Patagonia is targeting very much the exact same customers as Yeti. There's a lot of crossover between that target market for those two companies there. So let's talk about a SWOT. SWOT for Patagonia. This is just a hypothetical from an outsider perspective. Obviously, I don't work at Patagonia, and so I'm not privy to inside information. This is just kind of my own take here. So, SWOT, the S part. What is a strength of Patagonia? What are they good at? Maybe you can come up with some ideas before we show ours if you want to pause it and think about it. Otherwise, a few that out there. First of all, product quality. Patagonia is known for using high quality materials that last a long time. And their hats and their t-shirts, their puffer jackets, people who buy those expect to get quite a bit of use out of them and be able to use them in kind of strenuous situations in the outdoors and know that they're going to hold up. Maybe there are patents that go along with that. Maybe they have a special patent for wicking fabric that wicks sweat away and stuff like that. All that could go into the product quality part. The branding is a big strength of Patagonia. If you look at the brand here, you got the different colors, you got the mountains, you got the ocean. It's just a very attractive logo and brand. It looks good on a t-shirt. It looks good on a hat. I can buy that t-shirt and wear it, and that, to me, as a customer, might send a signal about what I'm about. I'm about the outdoors, and I'm also about sustainability. You see the last point there. Patagonia has really aligned itself with environmental activism. And so if I'm concerned about the environment, I'm concerned about climate change, I'm concerned about stewardship of the environment, I might buy Patagonia as a way to signal that. Now, I probably wouldn't buy Columbia or Eddie Bauer as a way to signal that. But Patagonia, I can buy that and send a signal to people that I, too, am very concerned about the environment. Okay? And so sustainability, they really have kind of a reputation as being aligned with that kind of mindset. And they even kind of use it in their products. If your zipper breaks on your puffer jacket from Patagonia, they'll give you instructions on their website on how to fix it. They don't want you to throw stuff away. They want you to be able to repair and reuse it. Okay, and that goes along with the warranty too. Lifetime warranty on the products. That is a big pro, a big thing that they do that a lot of other companies might not be able to do. And so a lot of positive things going on when you look internally at Patagonia. What about the weaknesses? First of all, it's kind of a niche brand right now. If you think about like Nike. If you go out, you see, a little toddler wearing Nike Air Jordans. You see an 80-year-old grandfather walking around wearing Nike shoes. You see people from babies all the way up to adults wearing Nike clothing. And you maybe see sports teams, the Cincinnati Reds wear Nike branded jerseys. Your local high school team might wear Nike branded uniforms. And so it's kind of a brand that has been embraced by a lot of different people across the spectrum. Whereas Patagonia, it's still kind of a niche brand. I don't really see a lot of Patagonia when I'm walking around at the Walmart in Wilmington, Ohio. I'll see a lot of it when I go out and camp, when I go to Great Smoky Mountains or I go to Yellowstone National Park. See a lot of Patagonia there. But for the most part, just out and about in everyday life, you don't see it a whole lot. It's a little bit more of a niche brand. Limited retail channels. I can't buy Patagonia at Target and Walmart. Basically, if I want it, I have to get it from the website, Patagonia.com, or I have to get it from a specialty retailer like Dick's Sporting Goods or REI. And so I just can't go anywhere and pick up Patagonia stuff. And then finally, a somewhat narrow product line. You know, you've got apparel for men and women. You got hats, and you got accessories, socks, and that kind of thing. But that's really about it. Just clothing. It's a clothing brand. And so a narrow product line, a little bit of a weakness there. So that is looking internally at Patagonia. What do they do well as a company? What are some of their weaknesses? Let's talk about externally. We have opportunities. Maybe expand into new product categories. Maybe a Patagonia branded line of camping equipment. Maybe a Patagonia line of branded outdoor cookware. Okay, so you get the idea. We could expand into new product categories using our Patagonia brand, which already has a lot of street cred with certain populations. Environmental awareness. Maybe if more people become concerned about the environment and want to align themselves with that cause and spend their money in a way that they feel shows that they're aligned with that cause, that's an opportunity for Patagonia. It just increases the amount of customers who might be interested in their product. And same with outdoor awareness. If people become more enthusiastic about going outdoors and camping, that's an opportunity for Patagonia. And then finally, I got partnerships down there. There are many, many green companies out there, and they're growing. I'll use Tesla as an example. If you could imagine a Patagonia branded Tesla SUV that was rigged out for camping and outdoor adventure, man, I would think something like that would sell like hotcakes to people who had a lot more money than I have. So they could explore partnerships with other green companies and kind of align with them as well. Those are external opportunities. What about threats? The likely entry of new competitors. Warren Buffett talks about the moat around your business, protecting your business. And basically that moat is things that you do that other companies can't easily do. All right? And I'm going back to the S here. The most valuable core competencies that we have are things that aren't easily duplicated. If things are easily duplicated, they're not going to remain a competitive advantage for long. So this likely entry of new competitors, what does it take to start a clothing brand? Probably not a lot. I could buy some t-shirts from Taiwan. I could slap a logo on them and make up some kind of marketing gimmick to go along with it. And then bam, I'm in the market. I could potentially take market share from Patagonia. Now, getting that company from $0 in sales to multi-millions like a Patagonia might take some work, but there's not a very big barrier to entry in that particular market. Changing buyer taste could also be a threat. If people decide they don't want to have trucker caps and $40 t-shirts anymore, then maybe that would hurt Patagonia. And then, of course, economic downturns. We talk about Patagonia being a premium brand. People are paying $50 for a t-shirt and $150 for a puffer jacket and $35 for a trucker cap, whatever the case might be. When the economy starts to take a downturn, people pull back on those types of purchases. If people pull back on discretionary spending, that's going to hurt Patagonia. That's a threat. So, SWOT. Let's talk about how these kind of play off one another. Everything that we're good at, what is the strength of our company? The opportunities that are out there. We want to leverage what we're good at to take advantage of opportunities. Leverage what we're good at to take advantage of opportunities. So, we're good at branding. We're good at product quality, right? So I'm going to leverage it when I come into a new product category. If I start selling camping equipment, I'm going to make sure that it carries the same high quality that my clothing line carries. And I'm really going to focus on the branding aspect of it and let people know, hey, this is a sustainable product, zero carbon, no emission product. All right, and stuff like that. And so we're going to leverage what we do well when we pursue our opportunities. On the other side, weaknesses. We're going to make sure that weaknesses and threats don't become a problem. We're going to kind of prepare a plan to mitigate. I'm not going to spend all my money trying to make a weakness into a positive and forget about pursuing opportunities, but I'm going to be aware of my weaknesses to make sure that I don't have any blind spots. Okay? And we see here we have vulnerabilities and constraints. I want to pursue an opportunity. I'm constrained by my weaknesses. I have a strength as a company, as a business. I'm vulnerable to threats. I need to be aware of them. Threats are going to be threats regardless of what I'm good at. Okay? And so we think about when we pursue our opportunities, we think about our constraints. How are our weaknesses going to hold us back? How can we address that when pursuing opportunities? We also think about the things we do well, but what are we vulnerable? We're vulnerable to threats. All right? In summary, our SWOT analysis, we can control what happens internally. We can control what we're good at. We can, in some ways, control our weaknesses by spending time, money, and resources to improve areas we are weak in. Opportunities and threats, we can't really directly control them. We just have to react. There's an opportunity in the marketplace, we react to it, we go get it. There's a threat in the marketplace, we react and try to guard against it. Okay? Our final thoughts here on our SWOT analysis discussion. You're going to have to put one together for me, and they are usually written and summarized with graphics, like we saw with Patagonia. So with Patagonia, I just kind of put everything in a nice little graphic to summarize. When you write your SWOT analysis, and when you do a SWOT analysis in real life, you'd actually write out and expand upon all of these different areas, and then you'd show a graphic kind of summarizing everything. And then finally, it can be done on a specific product, line, or an organization as a whole. And so I'll give you an example of Patagonia looking at the organization as a whole, but you could easily do a SWOT analysis on a specific product line or segment as well. So hopefully that gives you a nice little overview of what a SWOT analysis is, and hopefully you're ready to tackle one because you're going to have to do one in your homework. Check out the instructions on Canvas and make sure that you understand what you're doing before you get started. And hey, if you don't understand what you're doing, let's chat. Drop me a line. I'll be happy to help. And that will conclude our videos on the marketing plan and the SWOT. We will continue our marketing adventure. Later on, we're talking a little bit more about the external environment. We'll talk about the technological environment, the economic environment. We'll talk about all that stuff in videos later on. I'm hoping to see you back here for all those. Until then, take care, everybody.